Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you all doing today? It's a lovely Saturday here in Northern California, and I am going to sneak in a Better Late Than Never book haul, part 1. So I haven't done a book haul in a while, and I've had a shelf where I put all of the books that I haven't hauled yet on my channel, and it was getting a bit out of control. So I'm here today to rectify that situation and give you about 8 books to put on your TBR, because once they're off this channel doing this video, they go onto my TBR shelves over there, which are getting more and more full. Oh, BookTube, what you do to me. So I am going to start with this book, which is Hourglass, Time, Memory, Marriage by Dani Shapiro. This is a memoir. I saw Dani Shapiro, and this is actually her in a wedding photo, in conversation with Hannah Tinty at the Bay Area Book Festival, which I had an amazing time at. Hannah wrote the book, The 12 Lives of Samuel Hawley, which you guys all know is on my top 10 so far of the year, top 10-ish so far of the year book list. I truly loved it, and they are really good friends. And this is a memoir about Dani Shapiro's marriage, and I'm just going to read you a sentence or two from the inside cover because I think it really sums up really well what the book is about. Hourglass is an inquiry into how marriage is transformed by time, abraded, strengthened, shaped in miraculous and sometimes terrifying ways by accident and experience. With courage and relentless honesty, Dani Shapiro opens the doors to her house, her marriage, and her heart, and invites us to witness her own marital reckoning. So I had the luck of listening to her read part of this book at that festival, and I have to tell you, some of it is just beautiful. It's a lot about time, the effects of time. There's a lot of sort of imagery about water and time that was just beautiful. So that's Hourglass by Dani Shapiro, and it's kind of a memoir reflection piece. The second book I got also at that same festival, and I was walking, there were aisles, and it was from a small independent publisher called Transit Books, and that is Kintu by Jennifer Nansubuga Makumbi. Jennifer Nansubuga Makumbi. And the reason this one kind of just jumped out to me is because it is actually set in Uganda, and I've been reading a lot of books set in Nigeria lately, but couldn't think of a single book that I had read that was set in Uganda. And I am fascinated by the continent of Africa and the countries that make it up. So, first published in Kenya in 2014 to critical and popular acclaim, Kintu is a modern classic. A multi-layered narrative that reimagines the history of Uganda through the cursed bloodline of the Kintu clan. Divided into 6 sections, the novel begins in 1750 when Kintu Kida sets out for the capital to pledge alliance to the new leader of Buganda Kingdom. Along the way, he unleashes a curse that will plague his family for generations. An ambitious tale of clan and nation, Makumbi weaves together the stories of Kintu's descendants as they seek to break from the burden of their shared past and reconcile the inheritance of tradition and the modern world that is their future. Now, to be honest, I don't know when I will get this because it is a chunkster. Look at that. But it is through Transit Books, which is a very small publisher. I've gone onto their website. It's actually not that long. It just feels really long. It's only 450 pages, but look at the print. It's so tiny. I don't know what they're trying to do to me. I'm getting older. I can't read that small. But I'm actually very, very excited about this one. So that's Kintu by Jennifer Nansubuga Makumbi. What a cool name. So the next 2 books that I got are from Unnamed Press. I've already raved a bunch about them on my channel because I really enjoy everything I've read by them. And this book was everywhere on my Twitter and on my Instagram, and I was just seeing it everywhere. So I had to go pick it up, and that's Florence and Ecstasy by Jessie Chaffee. Jessie Chaffee. Isn't that kind of a cool cover? And it's got these flaps. It's totally beautiful. And, oh, I didn't know she got a Fulbright grant to write this, but it says, Hannah, a young woman who recently arrived in Florence, bears a painful secret, a harrowing illness that threatens her identity as much as it does her health. Determined to rebuild her life in Italy, she joins the city's rowing club, where the locals slowly grant the foreigner access. There's the complex social dynamics, intense flirtations, dizzy soccer mania, and culinary obsessions, an insatiable appetite for life that both fascinates and repels her. But the city's past is what Hannah connects with most, for better or for worse. Florence radiates with countless representations of beauty, and soon she is wrapped with what lies beyond the well-worn tourist path, the stories of the mythical saints. So I thought that sounded really good. I think the cover is great. I really trust this publisher. And there's actually a quote from Alice McDermott, who wrote Charming Billy, and she's been nominated, actually, I think, for the National Book Award a number of times. And I really loved Charming Billy, so I was really excited. And it has actually a quote from Claire Massoud on the front, so she's just racking up points in my world. So that's Florence and Ecstasy, a novel by Jessie Chaffee. Now, the second book I got from them, I already told you about, and that was that Granta book that I'm totally blanking, but she was the author that was named on the Granta 30 Authors You Should Watch list. And then the third one I picked up was The Show House by Dan Lopez. And one, I think the cover is just fantastic. And let me just read. This one kind of speaks to me, and I've kind of been buying a lot of thrillers lately, and this is kind of there. News of a serial killer targeting gay men in nightclubs has everyone in Orlando on edge. And anxiety ripples through the suburban sprawl. Realtor Stephen and his partner Peter prepare for a dysfunctional family reunion with Stephen's estranged parents. Meanwhile, local pharmacist Layla finds herself searching for her missing younger brother, and the killer's painstakingly orchestrated life begins to unravel. Ingeniously conceived and plotted, the slow hand sends two very different families on a collision course with the truth in a page-turning psychological thriller. Doesn't that sound really good? It sounded like, I have to be honest, it kind of reminded me of, oh my gosh, I'm blanking. It kind of reminded me of all of those thrillers that you read where you think you know what the killer is going to do or who the killer should be, like A Silence of the Lambs or A Red Dragon by Harris, but you're always surprised a little bit in the end. So that's The Show House by Dan Lopez, and I'm excited to read that one. Okay. The next book is one of those books. Do you guys ever have a book, you pick it up and you read it and you automatically think of someone and you're like, oh my God, this book is perfect for them? So this book, and you won't be surprised, is I was reading this book and I was like, I have to eventually get a copy of this book to Simon Savage because I think it's right up his alley. And that's The Fact of a Body, a Murder and a Memoir by Alexandria Marzano-Lesnevich. And I read the inside of this, and this is true crime slash mystery slash memoir. So that sounds so different for me. I don't know. It sounds great. Before Alexandria Marzano-Lesnevich begins a summer internship in Louisiana, working to help defend men accused of murder, she thinks her position is clear. The child has two lawyers. Alexandria is staunchly anti-death penalty, but the moment convicted murderer Ricky Langley's face flashes on the screen as she reviews an old tape, the moment she hears him speak his crimes, she is overcome with a feeling of wanting him to die. Shocked by her reaction after she graduates from law school, she begins digging deeper into the case. Despite their vastly different circumstances, something in his story is unsettling, uncannily familiar. Crime, even the darkest and most sayable acts, can happen to any one of us. As Alexandria pores over the facts of the murder, she finds herself thrust into a more complicated narrative that the evidence alone suggests. The evidence couldn't explain what had led to the tragedy, who Ricky was, or how to understand the crime, or why she kept thinking of it. By examining the details of Ricky's case, Alexandria is forced to face her own story, unearth long-buried family secrets, and reckon with the past that colors her view of Ricky's crimes. So one, I thought of this and I was like, Simon, true crime, all of that intrigue sounds like something he would love. And then I was like, this sounds so good. I've talked to you guys about The Enchanted by Renee Duffield, which is one of my favorite books, probably my top 10 favorite books ever. I say that with an asterisk. But it's about a woman who gets people off death row right before they are killed. It's fiction. And that woman who wrote it, Renee, actually does that for a living. So that kind of all came together for me that this just sounded so good. That's The Fact of a Body, a Memoir, a Murder and a Memoir by Alexandria Marzano-Lesnevich. Okay, three more. When this book popped up as a giveaway that was only in the UK a while ago, I was so sad because I wanted to read it so bad, and now I have it. The Witchfinder's Sister by Beth. Underdown. Underdown. What what a cool name, Underdown. Kind of a name. Essex, England, 1645. With a heavy heart, Alex Hopkins returns to a small town she grew up in. Widowed with child and without prospects, she is forced to find refuge at the house of her younger brother Matthew. In the 5 years she has been gone, the boy she knew has become a man of influence and wealth, but more has changed than merely his fortunes. Alice fears that even as the cruel burns of childhood accident still mark his face, something terrible has scarred Matthew's soul. There's a new darkness in town, too. Alice's blood runs cold with dread as she discovers that Matthew is a ruthless hunter of suspected witches, and that's 1645. So that sounds so good. Very Salem witch trial-y. Kind of a Crucible type cover, don't you think? That's The Witchfinder's Sister by Beth Underdown. I want to keep saying Underdrow. I don't know why. And I wanted to read this for months, and I'm so glad I finally have a copy. This one is actually a book that I bought for my better half because it's comic book in nature, but it's also so... I just love the message. And it's from Quirk Books. So if you don't know Quirk Books, they're the ones who published The Peculiar... Miss Pettigrew's House for Peculiar Children. Is that the title? I can never remember that title. But we've all seen the movie. We've all seen the book. It's everywhere. That's kind of their biggest seller. But they publish a lot of really, really interesting fiction and nonfiction. And this is one. And this is The Spectacular Sisterhood of Superwomen. Awesome female characters from comic book history by Hope Nicholas. And now let me just take the cover off of for you, because it is so cool. It has all of these old comic book characters on it, and it kind of goes through the history of different comic book superhero women. I say superhero, just they don't all have superpowers, but they were in comic books. They were strong female characters, and they kind of talk about who they are and where they came from and how they got there. Have covers of the comic books that they're on, and kind of goes through history starting in, I think, the 1950s through current day. And I just thought, Quirk Books, what a cool idea. Hope Nicholas, I love the idea of this, and I think the cover is fantastic. So that is, let me hold up this one. The Spectacular Sisterhood of Superwomen, Awesome Female Characters from Comic Book History by Hope Nicholson. And I think that's going to just be fascinating as a flip through, learn some stuff, maybe go buy some old comic books to support. We are constantly trying to buy stuff for our nieces and nephews that reaffirms positive image of everybody, and I think this will really do that in so many ways. So I'm really excited about this one. And then last but not least in this part of the book haul is this book, All the Rivers by Dorit Rabinyan. I'm sorry if I butchered that. I'm really trying to be better with names. And I really actually got this because there was a little ticket on the book in the bookstore that said that it actually had been banned in Israel because of its content. And it says that when Leah meets Hilmi on a blustery autumn afternoon in Greenwich Village, she finds herself unwillingly drawn to him. Charismatic and handsome, Hilmi is a talented young artist from Palestine. Leah, an inspiring translation student, plans to return to Israel the following summer. Despite knowing that their love can be only temporary, that it can exist only away from the conflicted homeland, Leah lets herself be enraptured by Hilmi, by his lively imagination, by his beautiful hands, wise eyes, by his sweetness and his devotion. Together they explore the city, sharing laughs and fantasies and pangs of homesickness. But the unfettered joy they awaken in each other cannot overcome the guilt that Leah feels from hiding him from her family in Israel and her Jewish friends in New York. I thought that sounded really good. I'm always interested in reading books that have been banned in their home countries to see why. Probably because they have a powerful message that everyone needs to hear. So that's All the Rivers by Dorit Rabinyan. And I don't think it came out this year, so that's pretty new. So I hope that list inspires you guys to go out and pick some of them up. Have you read them? Please, comments below. I'd love to know what you hear about them, what you think about them. If you're going to pick any up, let's talk about it. I hope you are all having a great Saturday. I wish you the best of weekends. It's the 4th of July weekend here in the United States. So if you guys have the whole 4 days off, be safe, enjoy, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye. Thanks for tuning in.